everyone, it's Zelric, and I wanted to get on here and talk about PoE 2 for the first time in quite a while. PoE 2 just had their 0.2.1 patch release. It released a couple of different changes, and by a couple I mean a lot of different changes. I can back out for a second. These are the batch notes, go slightly over them. For a second, it added a bunch of in-game runes, 22, 7 new in-game talismans, 15 new in-game soul cores, which are all chase. They're all meant to be replaced once you're in the later half of the game. Adds more depth and complexity to the end game a little bit. It's a step in the right direction. It doesn't fix everything, but it does make things a little better with goals in place to replace some of the attributes and sockets that you have on your gear that you may not need anymore once you're towards the latter half of your character's progression. They balanced monsters a little bit. They did a bunch of other changes. They drastically increase or decrease the amount of times that you'll be seeing Hidden Grotto, which is amazing. They changed Rogue Exiles a little bit. I'm not going to go in this too far, but just know they changed a bunch of stuff. It's actually a pretty hefty patch. They also changed a couple of uniques. Headhunter now is 3 times better than it was before, giving you the rare monsters modifiers that it steals for 60 seconds instead of 20 seconds, which is amazing. I don't really understand why they thought 20 seconds was going to be good in the first place. It wasn't good in the first game. They reverted it, so they had... I just don't understand why they thought 20 seconds would be good in the second game when you're fighting way less rares in this game compared to the first. But regardless, that's not why I'm here. They added 500 more life to the Comb's Heart. They buffed Defiance of Destiny. They've done a lot. They've done a lot here. There's a bunch of miscellaneous changes. There's a bunch of bug fixes. Oh, here's one. Fix Tactician's Cannons Ready notable, now causing totems to use skill when you fired attack projectiles from skills that fired projectiles upwards, such as Hailstorm, Rounds, and Siege Cascade. I don't know if that makes it to where Cannons Ready is actually usable. It may be. I'll have to test it out. I'll actually play... I can go in and test it. I think I've got enough gold to respect my notable, but I don't know if it will help. I know the damage would go up by a lot if we can switch to using Cannons Ready, but I don't know. I don't think there's any other major changes to what we're doing here with our build. And the build I'm talking about, I know I haven't played it. I haven't made a video on it in a while, but the build I'm talking about is the Tactician Artillery Ballista build that I made early on in the channel's history. If you need a refresher, it's on my channel, but it's actually the most viewed video I have on the channel is my Artillery Ballista build. Anyway, but I don't think there's anything else in the patch notes that would change much about the build other than this helmet. This helmet is amazing for us. Just bar none. Obviously, it's a chase item. That's what they added. These are intended to be, are chase items. But due to the fact that this one line right here, pin enemies which are primed for pinning. Primed for pinning means anytime they have at least 40% pin buildup for normal monsters, magic monsters are 50, and rares are 60, and unique are 70. Since the Tactician always is pinning with all projectiles, and we've got a little bit of increased pin, and Siege Cascade gets basically doubled in damage when he attacks a pinned monster. The more times you can pin a monster, the more often you can have a pinned monster, the better. Also in our build, it acts as a freeze. Instead of just locking their movement down and they can still fire at you, for us, for the Tactician, you can actually completely stop them from doing anything. So it acts as a defensive layer as well, meaning the more times you can pin, the less things are attacking you at once, the more you can clear the screen and just have a better time. So basically, the more times you're pinning on our build, the more defense and the more offense you have. It's amazing. Not only does this allow us to get way more, so I imagine our build, this is probably the in-game helmet. Now, from now till they change it or nerf it or whatever, this is absolutely the in-game helmet. I don't know how to get it. I imagine all of these are just base drops, so whatever ways you could get uniques in the game before, even though in this patch they did increase the rates in which you can find uniques, especially ones that are rarer. So maybe it would be pretty easy to get this relatively. I don't know exactly how expensive it is. In fact, we could probably look and see if, well, I'm not going to do that in this video, but it's going to be expensive, I would imagine. It's a great helmet. 80 to 120 maximum life, 10 to 15 to all attributes, and life regeneration per second. While the life regeneration per second isn't amazing, it's just 8 to 12. This is what you're there for, and this is what is amazing. I will get back to everyone on whether or not Cannons Ready is better than using, I don't know what other node, to be honest, right now, because I haven't looked at the build in a long time. But off the top of my head, the Cannons Ready change may be more damage, but it may not feel as good. Because, of course, the problem with Cannons Ready is it increases the totem's action speed by like 30%, but it makes it to where they don't fire until you're firing. Well, before, you couldn't even use it at all because we use Siege Cascade as our main clearing skill, which didn't work with Cannons Ready. If you had Cannons Ready allocated in your Ascendancy, your totems would never fire because it didn't register your Siege Cascade as a projectile that was firing. So you were never firing to, like, from the totem's point of view. Therefore, your totems would do no damage anymore. Well, now that they fixed that, it may be better because already we're not having to aim things. And you're basically constantly firing. As long as you're fighting, you're essentially constantly fighting. The only problem is you can't just set down your totems and forget about it anymore, so mana would be more intensive with it. And, of course, extra action speed means they're firing way faster, so you're doing a lot more damage. Anyway, I just wanted to get on here and talk about this one awesome unique. Constricting Command is definitely the best in slot helmet, at least as far as I can tell. There's probably some rares that can compete with it, but being able to pin more often is always a pain point for the build. Not really a pain point, but you always want to be pinning more often. So the more often you can pin, the better, and this helmet makes pinning a cinch. So anyway, thank you so much. The only problem is it has really low evasion rating, so you're going to be losing out on defense. Take that as you will. Anyway, thanks so much. I appreciate everyone for being here and watching through the video. I know I kind of rambled a little bit, but that's just who I am as a person. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't really write scripts for these videos. I just kind of go off the cuff and react to things and just give you my honest opinion on things. So please like, subscribe if you liked the video. Keep following the channel if you want to see more from this build, because I'm planning on continuing it as long as it is a build that I can make in the game and it has not been nerfed into oblivion. I will continue to make this every league. I do probably plan on trying to make a version of Artillery Ballista in PoE 1. I don't know if it'll work. At least this version of Artillery Ballista. There may be a new Trothan gem from PoE 1 that may help in this regard. I don't know yet. I haven't really seen a whole lot of it, but we'll see. That's the plan in my head. And if I do make that build in PoE 1, I will release a video on me playing that build, and you can follow along as I do it if you want to. Anyway, like I've been saying, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate everyone. Have a great day. Peace out.